They say the quietest houses keep the loudest secrets. Tonight's case begins with one man who bought peace and found something whispering beneath it. It started with a creak, the kind of sound old houses make when the weather turns cold. But for Daniel Mercer, every sound in that house seemed to breathe. He had bought the small Victorian terrace on the edge of town precisely because it was quiet, the kind of place you could hear the rain slide down the windows. Across the narrow lane stood the abandoned remains of St. Augustine's Psychiatric Hospital, its windows boarded and ivy crawling up the brick like veins. On his first night, Daniel told himself the noises beneath the floorboards were only pipes or settling wood. But on the second night, the sound changed. It became a rhythm, a tapping, deliberate, almost human. When he pressed his ear to the floor, the tapping stopped, followed by a faint whisper that froze his blood. "Can you hear me?" He leapt back, heart pounding, switching on every light. The floor was solid. The house was empty. The whisper had to be in his head, maybe an echo from a neighbor's television. Yet the neighbors had moved out weeks earlier. Over the next few nights, the voice returned, clearer each time. Sometimes it called his name. Sometimes it begged for help. Once it even laughed. Daniel recorded it, holding his phone to the floor. And when he played it back, he heard a man's voice, distant but desperate, repeating, "They locked me in." He called the police. They searched the crawl space and found nothing but dust and old wiring. One officer joked it was probably a trapped animal, but Daniel noticed the man's eyes, uneasy, unwilling to look too long at the dark corners. Determined to see it himself, Daniel pried up the boards in the sitting room. The air that rose from beneath smelled of damp stone and rust. Shining his flashlight through the gap, he saw a narrow brick chamber, an old coal cellar sealed decades ago. And there, at the far end, a movement, slow, deliberate, retreating from the light. He stumbled backward and nailed the boards shut again, hands shaking. That night, he barely slept. At 3:07 a.m., he woke to the unmistakable sound of someone moving underneath the house, dragging footsteps and soft laughter. Then the whisper again, "I can see you." In panic, he called emergency services. By morning, police and a rescue team arrived with floodlights and crowbars. They broke through the foundation wall and discovered what Daniel had feared most. A man, filthy, gaunt, his skin raw from crawling through stone dust. He had been living beneath the house, entering through a disused maintenance tunnel that once connected to the psychiatric hospital across the road. His name was Leonard Harris, a former patient who had escaped nearly a month earlier. Inside the tunnel, they found scraps of food, empty water bottles, and a notebook filled with incoherent scrawls about voices in the walls. The news traveled quickly. Reporters arrived, the street was sealed off, and Daniel was assured the man would be returned to secure care. For the first time in weeks, Daniel slept peacefully, or so he thought. At 2:46 a.m., his phone buzzed, a motion alert from the camera by his front gate. Half awake, he opened the feed. The streetlight flickered once, twice, and then he saw him. The same man, Leonard, standing motionless in the rain, staring up at the window with both wrists bound by broken handcuffs. The footage glitched, the timestamp froze, and the feed cut to static. When police returned the next morning, there was no trace. Only two muddy footprints leading to the house, stopping right beneath Daniel's bedroom window. Since that night, Daniel never heard another whisper beneath the floorboards. But sometimes, in the small hours, he hears the floor creak. Once, twice, then silence. And every time he looks down, he wonders if the house really went quiet, or if something else is simply waiting to speak again.